Islam's interpretation is a very scientific and logical interpretation. Everything that lives dies. Islam says no to killing human beings. It means that, that when God has given you the gift of life, you do not take the law into your own hands to destroy your own life. So Islam expects you to live a happy and a good life. Yes, there is disease. Yes, there is illness, which you have to fight and which you overcome. That is Islam's stand on it.
या बाबतीत नेमकं मार्गदर्शन हिंदू धर्मात मिळत नाही आणि ते नाहीत त्याचं कारण असं आहे की आपली भूमी सुजलाम सुफलाम होती, आत्महत्या करावी किंवा मर्सी किलिंगसारख्या मार्गाचा अवलंब करावा असं वाटण्यासारखी परिस्थिती बहुधा नसावी. मर्सी किलिंगच्या बाबतीत म्हणाल तर ह्या सगळ्या यातना भोगल्याशिवाय आपली सुटका नाही असा एक हिंदू धर्मातला संकेत आहे. जीवनापासून परांगमुख होणं ही हिंदू धर्माची शिकवण बिलकुल नाही. येईल त्या परिस्थितीला टक्कर द्या आणि अंतिम यश मिळवा असंच हिंदू धर्म सांगतो.
In Christianity, life is understood as a gift. When it comes to euthanasia, the teaching is very clear. That you cannot, you don't have a right. Suffering is considered is valuable from this point of view. That suffering, particularly if it is voluntarily accepted, it is considered to be spiritually transforming. When there is no reasonable hope of a person surviving, and it is extraordinarily burdensome to the caregivers, those who are looking after, then one does not have an obligation to simply perpetuate life when the quality of life is cannot be preserved.
As far as Jainism is concerned and its views on life and death, is every soul, it considers even one sense being has a soul which is always equal to the 5 sense being, like human life only. So every life is to be respected and we have right to live and not right to die.
While active euthanasia is frowned upon by most religions, Hinduism and Jainism allow one to fast unto death to attain liberation. The Hindus call it samadhi, while the Jains have the concept of santhara.
But in certain cases, it is a highest form of austerity when you start renouncing the world. So that is also another idea in Jainism, but that is at a higher spiritual level. But otherwise, we respect life. But if it is an austerity, if it is a tapa, there is no law made for it. And therefore, it should not be sensitized, it should be natural.
Euthanasia is basically more necessary in the terminally ill cancer patients. If a good doctor is a real compassionate doctor, then he is one-to-one with the patient, he is empathetic with the patient, he does realize the extent of pain that he is experiencing. And the relief of pain is nothing short but death. And that is the only way you can put the patient to comfort, and that is not a barbaric act. That is an act of real compassion and benevolence. And though Hippocratic Oath says in its one paragraph that I swear by Apollo and all that I will not give lethal injection to end life, or I will not support such an act, I am totally against it. Hippocratic Oath has been changed from time to time. In today's scenario, the world is changing. The definition of compassion and all that is changing. So that has to be rescheduled, remodeled to help the patient.
The question in India is still pending. What needs to be done here is the judiciary needs to step into the role of a lawmaking body. The lawmaking function is in fact that of the parliament in India. But unfortunately, the situation today is such that the parliament has done nothing to take into account this problem that we are facing on a large scale. The concept of judicial activism is very well known to the Supreme Court in India. It has done it in the Vishakha's case. They can apply the same analogy here, and they could set some parameters at least. The law making process in itself is a well defined process. A collegium can be established of doctors and eminent jurists. A law commission needs to be set up. Guidelines have to be laid down as to when, in what cases can euthanasia be granted, can the permission be granted. There can be no thumb rule on this. It's a very potent question as to whether euthanasia can be misused. I say yes, it can be misused. There are pros and cons to every law, each and every aspect of every law that is in vogue in the country. See, otherwise lawyers wouldn't succeed until unless they find loopholes in the law.
The legislature thus far hasn't had the gumption to lay down a definite law on the subject. The judiciary's reluctance to champion the cause hasn't helped either. The last hearing of the Aruna Shanbag case was witness to the judiciary's stance. All they said was, you cannot allow a person to die under the country's law. The law needs to take a stand on the subject. It can't prolong the misery of those whose existence lacks dignity and is beyond human endurance.